Make sure I'm not on mute this time, like I was last week. Whoops. So a little music to get things started. Give everybody a few minutes to finish getting in here. All right, let's get this show started. I took the day off yesterday and went to Disneyland with my wife and a friend who was visiting from out of town. So I have a script, but it's not 100% completely done. So this may just go off the rails at some point here, and I may just have to go refer to my Twitter slash X feed just to see what I posted. A lot of the stuff that I talk about on here comes from the things that I post over on X throughout the week. So if you want to be more up to date with the things that I'm going to talk about and have perhaps a little bit less context, but more up to the minute, then you should definitely follow me there and put notifications on Mr. J Nowlin over on X. And the reason for that is because then you'll get instantly updated with anything that I post out, such as the Sonos CEO stepping down after the failed app revamp, etc. And anything else that I've got going on, such as things that I'm testing, rewirings that I'm doing, pictures, photos, videos, etc. Sometimes faster than the other channels. X is where it's at, regardless of everybody leaving. Blue Sky, love Blue Sky, but I'm not on it as frequently. X has been and will likely continue to be my main place where I go for doing this stuff. So, all right, let's kick things off here. Welcome back to Tech for Work, where I discuss things every week I found interesting in the tech and business world. This week, my name is Jesse Nolan. I'm your host, and I'm the founder of Tab Geeks. First off, I want to talk about, of course, the wildfires that are ripping through the Los Angeles area. There's currently 98,000 people currently under mandatory evacuation orders. Thankfully, my family and I are not among them. A couple close calls, a couple of false alerts that were sent out over the emergency alert system. One of them at 4 a.m., which was very, very not okay and made me very not happy, and woke basically half the house. And we didn't actually have to evacuate, but I had to wake up enough to find out if that was a fact or not. The fires, the biggest ones, are burning about 20 miles from us north. And we get the smoke and we get the ash falling from the sky, but overall, thank God it's not that bad. That being said, everybody in LA basically knows someone who has lost everything in the fires. For some context here, if you haven't been paying attention, there are two major fires that are still burning out of the 5 or 6 decent sized ones. Actually, it's more than that because there was two of them yesterday that I was monitoring that popped up and burned a bunch of acres and then shut down again. But there are two of the biggest ones, the major ones, that are still burning. They were started because of some crazy weather conditions that were contributing to the spread of the fire. And these are extremely high wind conditions, extremely dry weather. Right, it's the rainy season in California. Hasn't rained once, basically. There's been some dew from the sky, but that doesn't do much when normally you would like to have, or you would expect to have, a couple of rainstorms come through. We've had atmospheric rivers. We've had all sorts of fun stuff, and we've had basically none of that this year. And so everything is dry. And when a fire gets started, whether it's a campfire that goes out of control or electrical fire or whatever it is, when winds like this, two things happens. One, they blow the embers and the sparks everywhere, and so it spreads out really, really fast. And the other thing is that the number one way that we have of fighting these fires is through aircraft. And if those planes can't take off, because planes and helicopters can't take off and operate because of the winds, then the fire is basically just going to burn out of control. It's very difficult in those conditions, even for the firefighters, boots on the ground, to be able to do what they need to do. So, we are entering those conditions again in this area today and into this evening. So, hopefully, I mean, obviously, we're going to be keeping an eye on everything, but hopefully, um, we won't have any further spread. We've got a enormous workforce of firefighters and folks that are out helping to patrol and fight the area. The National Guard is out here as well, um, and lots of other folks that came in from Mexico and Canada, Ukraine and Israel, and all other states surrounding the area. So it's really an incredible response, and we do appreciate it. And essentially, for context here, the larger of the two fires has burned more than the acreage of the area of the island of Manhattan, and there's another fire that's not too far behind it. So a lot of damage has been done. This is going to be a very, very difficult fire to come back from. Starting to feel a little bit like the Hawaii fire or the fire that happened several years ago called the Camp Fire, which was up in Northern California. And there was, let me just make sure I saw comments come in, make sure I'm not, muted or something. Where's the comment? Oh, Charles Maxon is a bunch of emojis offering support. Thank you, Charles, for that. And if you're on any of the live streams and want to jump in the chat, you can over on YouTube and LinkedIn. I do get notified if it shows up. X, I haven't really figured out how to monitor yet, but I suppose we'll get there. Uh, all right. The Information Technology Disaster Resource Center. I want to give a shout out to them. The ITDRC is an organization that I have deployed with in the past, and they are preparing to deploy to the LA area to provide assistance. Their mandate is bringing technology resources, both in hardware and personnel, to wire up evacuation centers, schools, churches, whomever, anybody is who's caring for those that were affected by the fire. And what they do is they set up Wi-Fi and technology assistance. So when I deployed with them for the campfire, which I just mentioned a few years ago, we tapped into a local cox cable connection and pumped in multi-gigabit Wi-Fi or internet into a Wi-Fi network setup that we built out to cover the 60,000 people at the fairgrounds where they had fled to. Right now, there's 98,000 people, I believe I said at the top of the show here, that are currently under mandatory evacuation orders. So there's going to be a lot of folks, or there are currently a lot of folks that are just fleeing for their lives with the clothes on their back and are going to need a lot of assistance. And what happens today is, as you all know, as technology professionals, pretty much the world runs on. It runs on cloud. Some stuff runs on prem, but if that on prem stuff is down because, well, cellular is down, internet is down, the whole region has no power, then what are you going to do? And um, what they are able to do is they'll move in and they'll tap into a Starlink connection or satellite connection, or if there is a local wired cable, fiber, etc. connection, and they'll set that up so that you can bring an internet connection to a huge amount of people in a refugee center or a shelter. And essentially, they do not just the large ones; they also do schools and gyms and churches and places that are supporting folks in both in showers and living, as well as churches and schools that have taken in classes and teachers to be able to bring a small amount of normalcy and routine to kids' lives, but they generally don't have the infrastructure set up to support them. And so the ITDRC comes out and helps all of that. It's really incredible because they enable all of the other organizations to do the incredible work that they do, because a lot of these organizations don't have the resources of, say, the Red Cross, for example, who might bring their own Starlink connection or whatever. A lot of these other organizations don't have that, and so they're able to come out and get set up through the work of the ITDRC. So of course, everyone is asking for money to help the fire, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you can donate to them, and literally 98% of their donations goes to relief and not paying millions to nonprofit CEOs like some of the other organizations out there. So big fan of them. If you want to volunteer with them, I'm sure they're looking for volunteers as well. If you are not, have not heard of them before, then you definitely should go and check them out. I believe the site is itdrc.org. I am just checking on my internet connection here because it did just say that it was reconnecting, but I'm doing a ping test here and everything looks happy. So hopefully I didn't drop out over there. Quick shout out to another amazing resource that we have been using this past week. It's called the Watch Duty app. It's a nonprofit and it has been displaying where the fires are, where the burn areas are, where the red warning areas are. Tremendous amount of data in an app with up to the minute updates and resources. And it quickly became the most downloaded app on the App Store and has managed to maintain zero downtime. They're running on Cloudflare. And I saw an interview with their founder, and the service that they're doing is just absolutely phenomenal. And basically everybody here is just glued to that app to stay up to date on what's going on and monitor where the fires are going and if you need to get out or not. And that was the first app that I checked as soon as the alerts started going off to find out, okay, do I need to actually evacuate or not? Obviously, it's not completely up to the minute, but it is pretty quick. Excuse me. All right. Despite all that going on, I had a super busy production week last week, releasing 3 videos, 1 live show, and a few shorts. I started off the week with Ubiquiti's brand new in the rack behind me over there-ish, the USW Pro HD 24 port switch. It's got all 2.5 gigabit ports, except for 2 of them with 10 gigabit ports, as well as SFPs, ether lighting, and I believe 600 watts of total power. I love it. Full review video is already done, and the link is down below in the show notes. The next video that I dropped with Ubiquiti was announcing the new Access 3.0, which is the latest version of their access control app, along with new hardware and an amazing new headline feature, which is a partnership with Apple to enable TouchPass, which adds your access credentials to your Apple Wallet. So all you have to do is tap your phone on the reader and the door unlocks. Now, you can do it so that you need to unlock your phone, but there's a feature which I believe is called Express Mode, which enables the ability to not have to unlock your phone. You just hold it up and it'll unlock the door for you. But for the more security conscious folks out there, you can turn that off, and it will require your iPhone or the Apple Watch to get unlocked before it'll use that pass to be able to unlock the door. Another notable feature, which is not exclusive to the G3 line of products, is Face Unlock, and that is also available for the G2 generation of readers and works quite well, but not quite as well as TouchPass, which is just super simple. Just walk up, hold it up, and click. It unlocks. I am going to be dropping an install video shortly, which shows swapping out the previous generation, the G2 Pro reader, with the G3 Pro reader. Just finishing up some final tweaks on that. So hopefully this week, maybe not, then the next week. I also published a short which shows the new industrial rated G3 Flex reader, which is basically has no screen, has no camera. It's just a keypad and card reader and TouchPass reader and so on, but it's industrial rated. So you can beat it up and it'll keep on ticking. And there were a lot of questions on whether or not it was capacitive or if it was buttons or how it worked. It's a little bit of both, and I showed in a short that I did, which I'll leave the link down below, that you are able to not only use it with gloves on, but you're also even able to use it with an Allen wrench. Fun fact that I looked up recently because I was curious, the Allen wrench was invented by William Allen in 1910 as a more secure safety screw, which utilizes a hex shape, and his company, Allen Manufacturing, started making them, and the rest is history. So similar to how you would have Q-tip or Kleenex, you have Allen wrenches, and sure, a lot of people call them hex wrenches, but that's where the name comes from. It comes from Allen wrenches. So full video for my Access Control 3 and the G3 Reader Pro review will be in the show notes. Thirdly, the new Ubiquiti Flex 2.5 gig 8 PoE switch. It's a brand new switch from Ubiquiti. I've already installed it in the studio. I love it. It's a compact, affordable 2.5 gig switch with PoE and is now my go-to desk switch for anybody who's a power user who needs to plug in PoE devices and wants a 2.5 gig connection, such as for their computers, which, for example, is a MacBook Pro, but I have a CalDigit TS4 dock that I'm using with it, which has a 2.5. So I get full high-speed connectivity over the network there, and absolutely love it. So full review of that in the show notes as well. Quick drink there. Last week's show, if you missed it, was a doozy. So it was catching up on everything for the past couple of weeks around the new year. So if you missed it, I recommend going back and watching and listening because it's a good one. All right, on to this week's news at CES. One of the few things I'm going to cover from CES because I'm still going through everything that was announced there. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang, I don't know how to pronounce that. I really need to look that up. Apologies. Said that IT teams will become the HR departments of AI in the future. And I think this is very interesting and very astute, very kind of on point here. The direct quote is the IT department of every company is going to be the HR department of AI agents in the future. Today, they manage and maintain a bunch of software from the IT industry. In the future, they will maintain, nurture, onboard, and improve a whole bunch of digital agents and provision them to the companies to use. And so your IT department is going to become kind of like AI agent HR, which if you think about it is kind of, mind blowing and mind boggling because he's probably right. This is a guy who obviously sits at the very, very forefront of what's happening in AI and the infrastructure around it. And I have to be really careful about hitting my desk because it occurred to me last week that my microphone arm, the new place of where it's at, which I'll do a studio review video when I'm done fixing everything, but it's attached to my desk as whereas before it was attached to an arm off to the side. So if I hit my desk, it goes bong in the microphone. So I apologize for keeping doing that. I have to keep my hands down off of my desk and on on the side so that I don't whack it so many times. It's even picking up the clicks, which are impressive because this is a very quiet mouse from the MX Master 3S, but it's almost like a haptic feedback mouse where you click it, and I mean it's a very quiet click, but it's in there, and so you can hear it in the microphone. So I apologize for that, and I have to remember to move that to a different part of the desk so that hopefully it doesn't get hurt in the future. But back to what I was saying is that I think that's going to be a very accurate direction of where we're going is that it's already kind of like that right now. IT has eaten the world of business and continues to do so. And when you have employees who are essentially agents, or not essentially, who are agents and who are doing the jobs of some of the entry level work today, and so that those entry level folks can go on to do other things that computers cannot do yet, um, yeah, he's probably right that IT folks are going to become HR for the future. So be sure to say please and thank you to your Siri and your Google Assistant. And now I just set off my Siri. Great. And to all of your AI assistants out there, be polite and be sure to learn a few things about managing them and how HR works so that you can be prepared for this crazy future. Okay, SpaceX has been providing Cybertrucks and Starlink terminals to help with the firefighting efforts in LA, and I think this is phenomenal. And have I mentioned how much I love living in the future? Tesla's Cybertrucks, however you may feel about them, have been deployed to fire departments and strategic locations in the Burn area to provide power to the teams who are fighting the fires to serve as mobile batteries. And they also have Starlink terminals mounted to the roof to provide a mobile Wi-Fi station. Remember what I was saying before about Wi-Fi and internet access being critical for both the providers and the responders and the folks affected by the fire. So they're doing a little bit to help that as well. And they're, of course, beaming that internet from space. Additionally, reporters are using Starlink to document and broadcast information about the fires and to cover the stories of this catastrophic event. And I haven't seen any Ford F-150 Lightnings or Rivians deployed, so hopefully we'll see them coming out to help as well. But good on Tesla and the Starlink teams. Additionally, Starlink has been applying a free month of service to Starlink users in the Los Angeles area. If you're in the affected region, you get a free month of service, as well as they're also donating terminals to agencies, organizations, shelters. So a little bit of that advanced work that ITDRC is going to come in and help out with as well on a smaller scale. So if you're a new customer of Starlink, they are providing service for free until February the 10th if you're located in the affected area, which really just goes to show how powerful this can be to have this global network to just jump in and be able to provide connectivity both from cellular, and I'll get to that in a moment, as well as internet, which runs the world. So another thing that I haven't seen anybody else mention, if your Starlink kit was lost by the wildfires, meaning it was in your house and it burned down or whatnot, you can actually contact Starlink support and they're going to give out replacements for free. I haven't seen anybody mention it out there, so it helps to read the fine print. It's on their website. I'll leave a link in the show notes down below. Spectrum has been stepping up to help out as well. They opened up 35,000 of their Wi-Fi hotspots around the Los Angeles area. So if you're looking for Wi-Fi and you see a Wi-Fi network called Spectrum Free Trial, just hit connect and you'll be be able to get in for free with no issues. And the last one that I have here are two more things on here. Mint Mobile is giving away 2 terabytes of data and unlimited hotspot usage to its users. And then also what I mentioned before about cellular, SpaceX and T-Mobile have been trialing their cellular, space-based cellular connectivity for a couple months now, and they've officially turned it on for the region. So if T-Mobile and you are in that area, you're able to uh, get send and receive text messages as well as emergency alerts, and you can text 911 as well. And this is something that is going to continue to be used around the world. And I'm seeing that trying to reconnect thing again, but my connectivity ping test continues to go strong. So hopefully that's something's up with Riverside and it's going through clearly. Let me know if you are not seeing the stream here, but I have it open on my computer and it looks to be working fine. So we'll continue. Yeah, so I love living in the future. I love seeing all of the great things that everybody is doing to help out. There are, I'm sure, thousands of other individuals and organizations that are stepping up in ways that I don't have here. I am trying to highlight the areas of how technology is helping in the region, and technology companies are helping business continuity and all of that. And there's going to be a lot more to come as this continues on. 98,000 people, 100,000 people is a huge amount of folks who need help, and that's going to continue on for the next several months, I imagine. Okay. In the space adjacent category, Intuitive Machines, the company known only as known as the only private company ever to land a craft on the moon. No, yes, it fell over, but it did land. Is trying again right now. Actually, they're launching at a Vandenberg Space Force base, which is here in Southern California, and it will be a little while before it reaches the moon. But Godspeed to their next lander, and if it's successful, it's actually very interesting because we will soon have 5G on the moon. All right, that's a great headline, but it's only mostly true. The craft includes gear from Nokia, who, they're still around, repurposes some of their 4G tech, and is literally going to create the first cellular network on the moon using the Intuitive Machines lander as a base station to transmit data back to Earth, and will be a major step forward for creating a network of infrastructure on the moon so that other devices are going to be able to use this when they are able to land on the moon, whether it's government devices or private devices that are launched up there. They'll be able to connect to this cellular network and won't have to build their own data relay stations back to Earth, which just everything you do to build that infrastructure makes this so much easier to do going forward. So very exciting times, and I'll leave a link to an article about that in the show notes. Now, by the way, if you're interested in that, I highly recommend a book series called Delta V by an author named Daniel Suarez. It starts with the book Delta V, or Delta 5, but Delta V, and its sequel, Critical Mass. And I really hope he writes a third book because he has a bad habit of not finishing his trilogies, and I really want to know what happens next. This is a fictional near future sci-fi story about building a lunar economy in space. It's full of adventure and awesome tech. And one of the things that I love about his books is that he does an outstanding job of inventing the near future and kind of projecting where we're likely to go. And some of his books are from 30 years ago, and they're actually pretty accurate. So yeah, I start with these and then maybe go back and read those other ones. Very interesting book about AI daemon taking over the world and whatnot. And so more interesting stuff from him. I will also link to that in the show notes. Now that's I have run out of the things that I was planning on talking about because I went to Disneyland yesterday and abandoned all of this. But a couple of other things that are going on here in the space area is Blue Origin has, well, they were about to start another launch and they had a bunch of delays, which was very frustrating because a bunch of us stayed up pretty late to continue watching it or to see it happen live. And they ended up scrubbing it and are waiting for the right opportunity to try again, probably going to be in the next couple of days, but we wish them luck in their endeavors as well, because you know what, competition is good. SpaceX is awesome, but it's good to have some other competition out there to help continue driving progress forward and keep everybody working hard and in their places. So all right, what else can I talk about here? Because I ran out of things. I have had lots of spam calls recently that I've been highlighting on X, where things come in, whether it's calls, text messages, or now WhatsApp. And I got a message from somebody saying I couldn't reach you elsewhere, so I'm texting you here. But hear me out. It's like, no, there's a reason why you couldn't reach me elsewhere. Go away, spammer. I'm not interested in your lead generation system that probably doesn't work anyway. So, um, just figured I'd shut that out because that was ridiculous. So. Um, Blue Origin, back to that point, is going to be broadcasting again, and when they do, follow their account on X, and I guess probably Blue Sky for more information on that and how to watch the live stream. And if you like watching interesting broadcasts of space launches, the SpaceX launch that's happening right now with uh, what do you call it, the lander that I was talking about before, the industrial machines, LM. God, I'm blanking out. Intuitive Machines, that's what it is also a rideshare with Mark Rober, YouTuber Mark Rober's. He has a new satellite that's going to be on there, and it's not his first satellite because he used to work for JPL and worked on the Mars rover, and has actually done space stuff before. So he made a selfie robot, a selfie satellite robot that he is launching to space as part of his Crunch Labs company, which he obviously always promotes on YouTube and helps encourage STEM and engineering in kids and teenagers and adults. And I'm always a big fan of that happening. So that is likely to be a very fun launch video. It's being hosted by Everyday Astronaut and Mark Rober. So I'm definitely planning on going and watching that. I'm missing it because I'm broadcasting to all of you. So I'm going to be probably sitting down at lunch and I'm watching that. Oops, whacked the microphone. Yeah, Sonos CEO is out after a failed app revamp, which basically led to a customer revolt. They let a lot of people down and off, and so he and hopefully we'll see some interesting stuff coming from Sonos with whatever they got working on the bench and some new leadership very soon. In the meantime, I'm still enjoying my Ubiquiti power amp and using that and seeing if Ubiquiti can make a dent in the Sonos domination of the connected high quality audio market. So take another drink here. All right. Another interesting thing here is that TikTok is about to get banned, and there's been a whole lot of talk about what might happen and how it could happen, who could buy it. And yesterday, Mr. Beast tweeted, "Okay, fine, I'll buy TikTok so it doesn't get banned." Which, on one hand, is like, all right, sure, he's just doing what he did before when Elon bought Twitter, in saying that he'll be CEO. And in fact, his profile still says that he's the super official CEO of Twitter or of X, and obviously he is not. That being said, I think that it could be very interesting if Mr. Beast actually bought TikTok and made a media play. Now, I don't think he has the time or the interest in running a social media network, but given that he's the biggest social media star in the world, biggest YouTuber in the world, certainly, he could be a very interesting play as far as diversifying his empire and continued growth. And, if Elon has been very successful running X and making it his platform, maybe we'll get Beast Talk or whatever he'll rename it to, which will have all the teenagers on it, and which is probably a big part of his core audience. So stay tuned for that, I guess. And then another thing where YouTubers and nerds are going mainstream. We're talking about Mark Rober, we're talking about Mr. Beast. Now we're going to talk about Linus Sebastian from Linus Tech Tips. And if you've never heard of him, if you've mentioned him in the last couple of weeks, you either have been living under a rock for your entire career, or you're just getting into tech, because he's one of the OG tech YouTubers. And he was on the Jimmy Fallon show last night, showing off some of the stuff from CES, as well as the X-Real AR glasses or XR glasses that I have been testing. He's got the pro ones though. I don't have the pros yet because they're not available, but I did order them and they should be arriving, I think, in March. Maybe I can convince the X-Real team to send me them a bit earlier because I really want to be able to compare all of them. But I will give you a sneak peek of the review that I am going to be releasing probably this week on those. Is that I finally am able to have my 49-inch ultra wide desktop with me on the go, and that's fantastic. And I'm so excited by that. The quality is not quite there. We hear about pixels per inch and screens density and all of that stuff from Apple over the years and from other manufacturers, and it's a real deal because I mean I happen to have very good eyesight, but looking at a screen drives me crazy if it's not a high enough pixel density where if I'm looking at it from a distance, I'm looking at it and I can see the pixels, it really messes me up. And yeah, you get over it after a little while, but it drives me crazy. And maybe this is just me. Shout out in the comments if you have this problem as well. But using a 1080p screen makes me want to shoot myself. Like I can't. It's ridiculous. And I'm very happy with the screens that I have. I'm fortunate to be able to have them. And my iPhone and the other screens around me are all really really solid pixel density there, high quality enough so that you cannot see the individual pixels when you're using it. I can't say the same for the X-Real glasses. Perhaps the new chip in the X-Real One Pro will have that capability, and it'll be a lot easier to see. Or will have much higher pixel density there, and it won't be as noticeable. That being said, using them to be able to have this setup, which I'll have to do a video touring around the studio when I'm done, but to be able to have that on the go is a complete and total game changer for folks who work on multiple screens like I normally do. To be able to have not quite as wide a setup as I do there, but be able to have windows side by side, and then even have my laptop screen open in front of me and be able to see, if you glance down below the glasses, be able to see some reference material on there as well. I do have to set up a alternate Face ID unlock on my iPhone though, because when I wear them it doesn't see this part of my face, and I can't just look at my phone and unlock it. So when I'm trying to just glance at my phone for a notification or something, that I'm not able to do that. So we'll see if that works. I know it works with a mask on your face. I don't know if it works with wearing glasses like that. So I guess I'll have to give that a try and do a short on it or post it to X or whatnot, and let you all know. So that's pretty much it. I am not. I don't have the Google Workspace updates prepped, so I'll have to do maybe dedicated shorts with those and give that to you on X and LinkedIn and on YouTube, which is the primary platforms that I post on the regular. I'm continuing to evolve the show and work on improving it every single week. Something a little bit different, something a little bit, more details, less details. Let me know what you want to see. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button. It really helps to spread the feed or the video out over the platforms wherever you're listening, to let other people be able to enjoy my content as well. And as always, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.